Are you looking for inspiration where to explore for your next adventure? Every trip starts with a whisper of an idea, a hint of curiosity about a certain place or experience, or a flash of inspiration. It might come from a vivid dream, a scenic photograph you've seen somewhere, or a captivating story shared by a friend. Today, I'll share my thought process on how I usually plan my travel adventures from choosing a destination to creating and planning an itinerary. First of all, having a general idea of your personal preferences can help to narrow things down. For example, do you have any cultural preferences, like an interest in history and heritage, art and architecture, or music or performing arts? Another preference that you might want to take into account would be seasonal and climate preferences. They are highly personal and subjective and also has the ability to affect one's mood and energy levels. It very much also affects the type of activities that you will be doing. Some other considerations you might want to have at the back of your mind would be setting a budget. Are you a budget traveler who is seeking adventures without breaking the bank? Or are you someone who can afford a little bit more and is looking to indulge in the finer things in life? But aside from all of these, how else can we tune into our desires and choose a travel destination that would align with what we are looking for? One of my favorite ways to kickstart the journey is by immersing myself in different cultures through books, movies, or documentaries. There's something incredibly alluring about getting lost in the pages of a novel set in a far off land, or being transported to exotic locales through the lens of a talented filmmaker. These encounters often plant seeds of wanderlust that eventually blossoms into full-fledged travel plans. Platforms like Instagram and Pinterest are also very valuable treasure troves of travel inspiration, with countless wanderers sharing their adventures in real time. But perhaps the most powerful source of inspiration lies within yourself. Close your eyes and think about the places that have left an indelible mark on your heart. Maybe it was the rugged beauty of a national park, the vibrant chaos of a bustling city, or the serene tranquility of a remote village. By tapping into your own travel experiences and passions and realizing and noticing what makes you happy in the past, you can get a feel of where and what type of experiences you are trying to seek out. Secondly, just like there are different personalities in everyday life, there are also various traveling personalities that reflect how people prefer to experience their vacations. Knowing what you're looking for out of your trip can be a way to guide you to plan how your adventure is going to look like. One can look for a getaway for various reasons: adventures, outdoor nature explorations, to experience traditions and culture, but one can also have the primary goal to unwind and recharge with an itinerary that is laid back and relaxing. If you are a foodie, you could also be looking to travel to satisfy your culinary craving and explore culinary options. Other motivations to travel could include getting involved in volunteer positions, to live a nomadic lifestyle, or to experience something on your bucket list. Whatever your reason for travel, having some sort of travel goals can help you be more intentional in the way you travel. Of course, it is also possible to have more than just one motivation. After figuring out your travel personality, you could also go one step further to set some travel goals. This could look like elaborating on the ways you would love to achieve your individual interests, aspirations, and priorities. For example, you could be looking to immerse yourself in local culture. Perhaps you could also be looking to conquer outdoor challenges, like climbing a specific mountain, completing a long-distance hiking trail, or even diving into a certain number of the world's top dive sites. Now, I would also like to share with you how I typically go about planning a slow travel itinerary for myself. Personally, the journey makes up a huge part of traveling itself. I am also a maximizer, and I love to make things as efficient or cost effective for me as possible. And that could look like being able to stop over in multiple cities by choosing specific flight routes. Planning a slow travel itinerary involves a different mindset compared to traditional rushed trips, and here I would like to give some tips on how you could craft your perfect itinerary. First, it could be very helpful if you have some idea of various slow travel routes that people usually do. These routes offer not just a journey from point A to point B, but also an immersive experience with plenty of opportunities to explore along the way. This second tip is my personal favorite. You could consider different starting and ending points with different modes of transportation. Instead of sticking to the conventional routes or booking a round trip, think of how you could have different starting and ending points. Maybe you are looking to travel to Germany. Instead of flying straight into the city that you are going to, could you perhaps take a flight to Budapest, take a train up to Austria, and then into Germany? Not only do you get to see more places while making your way up, this could also be a cheaper and more environmentally friendly way of travel as well. Thirdly, learn how to embrace flexibility. Slow travel is all about savoring the journey, so don't be afraid to deviate from your planned itinerary. Leave room for spontaneity and serendipitous discoveries, and you might stumble upon a charming village, meet interesting people, or come across an event that you hadn't planned for. Embrace all these unexpected moments, and often they will become the highlights of your trip. Number 4, this is something that I do kind of have to learn, which is to focus on depth and not breadth. Instead of trying to cover as many destinations as possible, try to find a good compromise and balancing point where you can explore a few places in depth. At the same time, it's also important not to stretch yourself too thin, or you might be tired from traveling. And one last tip, which is also one of my favorites, would be look for ways to seek out slow travel accommodations. These could be accommodations that align with the slow travel ethos, that offer a more intimate and authentic experience compared to large hotels or resorts. Ever since I've traveled through culture exchange platforms like Workaway or HelpX, I have never ever looked back. Often, homestays or house-sitting ventures allow for a slower pace of travel that involves meeting locals, learning new skills, and also staying in a certain place for long enough to experience it more holistically. Maybe this video has inspired you to dream about your next getaway. Here are some practical action steps that you can do to plan ahead. Make a list of some possible destinations, or have a fun activity of doing a vision board. Do you care more about the budget and cost saving aspect of your trip? What are you seeking out from your travel adventures, and what are some of the activities that you have always wanted to do but have not? With that, I'd like to introduce you guys to the next travel vlog series called 60 Degrees North in Alaska, where I documented my 1 month trip to Alaska alone. I don't know how you guys' brains work, but for me, I love to give meaning or structure to the things that I do in life as a way to guide my decision making, but also to give narrative and story. Since I had the opportunity to experience Arctic Canada, one day I thought to myself, hey, it would be interesting to be able to make travels in this period of time called the Arctic Adventures. Hence, I looked up what's nearby to Yellowknife, and Alaska was a great choice. There was also the option of coupling this adventure with another which has been on my bucket list, which is to go on a 1 week Alaskan cruise that takes you from Seward to Vancouver, where I could then fly back to Yellowknife, and everything fit really nicely like pieces of a puzzle. This trip to Alaska is definitely one for the memories and perhaps one of my favorite adventures to date. I look forward to sharing with you my Alaskan stories. Thanks for watching until the next video. Bye!